Hi friends, welcome to today's lesson, and today we will discuss about Java 8 changes on interfaces. Before we continue, thank you for subscribing my channel, and if you like the content, please like, subscribe and share this channel with your friends. Please watch this video till the end because it will cover all the important questions that are mostly asked in the IT companies like Infosys, Amazon, TCS and all the other big IT companies, and this is a very trending topic these days. So let's see what we have in learning for today. Today we are going to see the new features that Java has added after Java 8. In Java 8, a user can add a default method as well as a static method in the interface. In interfaces, what we learned in earlier classes, that in an interface it is like a blueprint of the class. Whatever you are writing in the interface, the classes which is going to implement that interface will have to implement it, will have to write the implementation of the methods that interface will be having. But in Java 8 there has been changes in this concept. Now you can add a method with its implementation into the interface, and all the classes that are implementing that interface need not write that method. It means all the classes which are going to implement this interface, they do not need to implement the method which is set as a default method into your interface. And the second one is static method. Before we were not able to initialize a static method in the interface, but now you can initialize a static method as well into your interface. In the previous interface video, I had already created interface example package here, and I had created an interface food.java, and another one I created a class pizza.java which was implementing food.java. So in food.java I have a class, I have a method eatable, and pizza.java is implementing eatable method right here. Today in this class I will create a default method here in the food.java interface, and I will show you how pizza.java uses this default method. As we know that default method need not be implemented by the classes, so we can just write the default method with its complete implementation in the food.java, which is an interface. So the syntax goes like this: default void. Let me take a method name which I do not want all the classes to implement it. So I can take a common method which will be common in all the classes which will implement this food here. So default void food type. So now I have written food type as this is Italian. So whichever class, if all of my classes are of type food Italian, then they can easily call this food type method, and they do not need to implement this food type method in themselves. So I can create one more class here called another food type which is Italian, that will be pasta. Pasta.java should be implementing food interface, and first, before we go ahead, we have to implement all the unimplemented methods of the food.java interface. So we will have to use all this method. Let me just copy this and quickly paste it over here. Let me make it pasta. Okay, and then public static void main. Here this goes pasta. Eatable method is being called, and then another one is default method food.type is getting called, which is in food.java interface. This is just now I have written it. So since both are Italian food, we do not need to write this is Italian again in all these methods. So both are Italian, so we do not need to write Italian in all these classes again. So this is how default method works in the interface, which is added in Java 8. So if you have any functionality, anything which you do not want to write again and again in all your classes, and it can be common in your interface, then you can write that method in your interface along with its implementation. If you want, you can also override the method that we have considered default inside the interface. We can also override it. Let's see if we can override it or not. You cannot make it default here because default can only be in the interface, so it can be public void food type. And here, when p object food type is called, then instead of calling the interface food type, it's going to call the food type in the same class. Let's run it. Pasta is tasty, this is called, and the next line is pasta, this is Italian, is called from here. If I delete it, then the method from interface will be printed. This is Italian, that is in interface it's printed. For static method example, let me take a static method in the food interface. Here I will take a method as a static whose implementation I do not want into any of the classes. Like if I'm making a static method in the food.java class, food.java interface, I don't want that method to be implemented in pizza.java or pasta.java. So I will have to take such kind of static methods. That is the use of static method that Java 8 has included in. So here if I take food is over, and all the classes will have to call this method only if they have finished the food. So I can make it something like this: static void food over. Let me put this as a comment here so that it's clear. So this is a static method, and pizza.java can call this static method, but pizza.java or pasta.java cannot add any implementation for this static method. For calling this method, you will have to use the interface name along with the food method name. We can also have the static method in our implemented class also, but that will not be the overridden of the static method. Let me give you one example here. Control C. So you can successfully call the same method static with the same name in your implemented class also, and that will not be the overriding of the interface method, because the way you have to call interface method is by using interface name, but the way you have to call this food over dot method, which is also static, by using the class name. Run it. Both will print different values, and both will call their own static methods. Let's conclude this session by seeing what is the difference between default method and static method in the interface. First point is default method can be overridden, whereas static method cannot be overridden. Default method needs to be called by implementing class object, whereas static method needs to be called by the interface name itself. Third point is default method can be at implementing class level, but static method is always as at the interface level. Fourth point is both interface and class can have static method with the same name, but neither is overridden. So all these four points I have just explained in my video. Hope this is very much clear to you. I have covered all the points of default and static in the interface in JDK 8, which all have been added. So stay tuned with this channel, and in the next video we will see what are the difference between interfaces and abstract classes. Thank you. Please like and subscribe to this channel if you already like the content of this.